Hey guys, Ruminating Reaper here. So, new decade has begun, 2020. Wow. I've been alive to witness the end of the noughties and now the 2010s. That is terrifying. Right, enough of my existential crisis. 2020 has begun, the 2010s have ended, 2019 is over and done with. It's in the past. We're waving goodbye at it from the rear view window. So, what better way to celebrate the start of a new decade than me counting down my top 10 picks for the best films of the final year of the decade, 2019. So join me as I share my list for top 10 of 2019. First, start with a few honorable mentions before we begin. Okay, so the films that didn't quite make it onto this list, but I would still like to mention them, are as follows. Okay, so kicking off these honorable mentions is the Lego Movie 2, the second part. I know like quite a lot of people didn't really like this one. Obviously the first one is miles better, but for what it is, this one still has that same charm that the first film has, and takes more of a musical approach to it. And there are lots of really good jokes in this one, like the recurring joke of Bruce Willis. Was not expecting him at all, and has plenty of surprises and does move the story forward considerably. So it and doesn't just feel like a soulless cash grab that's been released after 5 years and two spin-offs. And apparently we're finally getting the Lego Batman movie 2 in like 2 years, though I don't know what that status will be, because you know Lego and Warner Bros. Deal ended. Next up in these honourable mentions is Good Boys. Very funny film, very heartfelt. They like super bad the preteen years, and the three characters get themselves into a lot of really wacky and funny scenarios that that progress them as characters. I've reviewed this film before. You can probably find that video on my channel. Okay, next up is Zombieland Double Tap. Was really pleasantly surprised by this one. I love Zombieland 1. It was very funny, and obviously it was gory and had a human element as well. Very much focused on its four survivors, and glad to see that the sequel changed like none of that whatsoever, but adding some new fresh elements in for 2019. Had a lot of the same humor, landed really well. Like at my show, and lots of people laughed at jokes. They were funny, and it didn't change its approach to the four leads whatsoever. They were still very much the focus, despite which I think is refreshing, because you know how oversaturated the zombie market got over the last few years. So I'm glad that they took an approach more similar to the first rather than trying to change it up for mainstream audiences. Next up in my honorable mentions, It Chapter 2. Again, another one I reviewed. Very good. Not as good as the first and not exactly scary, but for the most part sticks the landing, and it's a solid ending to these two parts. Wonder what this supercut of the two films will be like. It's supposed to be like 7 hours long or something like that. And last couple of films I want to mention briefly: Toy Story 4. Now I didn't get to talk about this one. Didn't need to happen, but surprised me quite a bit. The ending surprised me, and obviously the scene stealer was Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom. Like, I don't know how he's not going to be. He's Keanu Reeves. But Ducky and Bunny, who were voiced by Key and Peele, were also a highlight, and of course Forky. Yes, all round surprising finale of sorts. Another one I didn't get to review, Spider-Man Far From Home. Again, takes everything the Homecoming attempts and just sticks the landing with it perfectly. It's a lot more action. Like, it takes a lot more risks with its story and has Mysterio in it, played brilliantly by Jake Gyllenhaal. And the mid-credit scene where they brought back J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, the level of happiness that brought to me, the Raimi purist I am, I was excited. And the next honorable mention, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, talking about it. Very good finale to about 42 years built up, and was a very good very good film in its own right. And the last film of the honorable mentions, Midway. Again, I think I've talked about all of these except for Lego Movie, Toy Story 4, and Spider-Man Far From Home. But yeah, Midway, brilliant war movie. Don't listen to the critics. It's fantastic. It's the aerial battle scenes are so good, and you can very much tell that Roland Emmerich was involved because he knows how to stage an action scene, especially one like of that scale. You probably remember Roland Emmerich best for blowing up the White House in Independence Day, and quite frankly, that this film really lives up to that legacy. Overall, very good war movie, very underrated. If you haven't seen it, if you like war movies, definitely check this one out. All right, talk about the honorable mentions long enough. Let's get down to the real thing. So, kicking off this list at number 10 is How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. This one was a very good ending to the trilogy. I absolutely love How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2. They are extremely nostalgic films to me. Like, I remember seeing the original film at the start of the decade when I was like 6 years old, and I've loved these films ever since, and I've even read like one of the books that they're based off of. So to see this trilogy ending in such a satisfying way makes me very happy, and I'm glad that they stuck with the plan just to make the trilogy and rather than just dragging out the franchise unnecessarily for endless sequels, spin-offs. I'm glad they've made the franchise the way they wanted it, and it really shows in how the franchise concludes very satisfyingly with no loose ends, with a happy ending all around. Probably one of the best trilogies I've seen in recent years. Like up there with the Dark Knight trilogy and War for the and that Planet of the Apes trilogy recently. Yeah, very good stuff. Next up on my list is Knives Out. What a great film. Ryan Johnson is a very talented director, and he very much knows how to subvert expectations, especially within long established genres which have like a set of tropes that every film in that genre kind of has to follow. But he subverts them very well, even in Star Wars. Yes, I liked The Last Jedi. Sue me. But Knives Out was a brilliant film from start to end. Really gripping mystery, and when it gets very exciting, when the mystery deepens in like the third act, filled with great performances, especially from Daniel Craig, who made a pretty great detective, as Benoit Blanc, and his southern accent is just great, especially when he's going on about the donuts as his analogy for the deepening mystery. Chris Evans, who was really funny throughout, he's just so smug and and even his scarf. I don't know those. And Ana de Armas. Again, I hope I'm saying that right. From who was in Blade Runner 2049, does a great job here as like the pure good person in the case who very much is an impossibility and ends up being the key to solving it all in the end. So yeah, Knives Out, brilliant watch if you haven't already. Great fun. In fact, just a great film in general. It's one will become a classic in the years to come. Coming in at number 8 on this list is Shazam. I can just say, man, DC have been improving quite a lot lately. Between this and Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Joker, they have really stepped up their game. And and obviously Shazam is in here because, well, it's such a joy of a film from start to finish. It's really funny when Zachary Levi and Jack Dylan Grazer are on screen together. They are just a great comedic chemistry because Zachary Levi is just so naturally goofy in it, and obviously Jack Dylan Grazer is the straight man of sorts, but still, like, actually he still gets a fair few jokes in. Yeah, they're just a great pair together. The film's not afraid to go dark when it needs to be dark, and handles some quite serious subject matter as well. But yeah, it's a brilliant film that balances out its darks and lights very well. It never feels too slow despite its 2 hour 12 minute running time. It goes along at a quick enough pace, and okay, maybe the final act does kind of the final battle does kind of drag out a bit. Like that's kind of a common thing that superhero films do, but even then, it it allows for a pretty great dig at supervillain speeches. Yeah, Shazam, probably one of the best comic book films of the year, an absolute highlight. It's a shame it didn't quite get its due at the box office, but it's still a joy to watch and absolutely brilliant film. So coming in at number 7 is Alita Battle Angel. Now, I've not read the manga that this is based off of, nor have I seen the anime, but this film, wow, it's great. It's it's a film that, despite having a female lead, it doesn't use that to like for marketing or to avoid having to write character and conflict. Instead, the film writes Alita extremely fleshed out character with flaws and goals, and gradually progresses into like a powerful threat on the level of John Wick. And you really feel that growth because you've come to care for Alita, and no part thanks in part, quite a bit due to Rosa Salazar's great performance as the character. And this film, it is violent. Like like you thought they were really trying to stick to the source material and really push that 12A rating they had as far as they could. Like there's people getting cut in half. There's dismemberments. There's a character's face even gets cut off at one point, and a dog is killed. Like, yeah, it's violent, but it's also not so violent that it loses the 12A rating. It's still like safe enough, like that 12-year-olds can watch. So yeah, Alita Battle Angel, what a film! Definitely check this one out if you haven't. And I'm just gonna get an opinion out there. If I were to choose between this and Captain Marvel, because I know that that rivalry was a thing, I definitely choose this. Right, this is the superior film far and wide. Definitely check this one out if you haven't. Absolutely underrated film that needs to be seen by more people. And yeah, I hope the two sequels James Cameron has planned are getting made. Coming in at number six is John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Absolutely brilliant action film. Never lets up, so you can and there's so much action that you're never got a chance to be bored. Even like the slower stretch in Morocco, there's still some great action scenes, and especially when Halle Berry's dogs get involved. Yeah, John Wick Chapter 3, brilliant, really inventively choreographed and really well shot. I'm glad that we now have action films that can simply place the camera down and film the fight scenes. No cuts needed, no shaky cam, just clear wide angles and lots of really nice martial arts choreography and great gunplay. And there's even a really brutal kill with the book. But yeah, it's all held together very nicely by further developing the unique world building of the John Wick universe, and a great lead performance from Keanu Reeves. And when I rewatched this, Lawrence Fishburne is an absolute scene stealer here. He gets so many funny lines in. Like I genuinely did not remember his character being that funny. And Halle Berry as well, with the limited screen time she has, does very good. And the villain and his guys provide a nice match for John Wick, so you don't just so it's not just him going god mode all the time. And you can see that he's getting so old, he's getting slow, and he might not be able to keep this up forever. What more can I say about this film that has not already been said? That first half hour, especially, is just it is incredible. Not quite my favorite of the series. That's still chapter two, but it is very close up there, and I can't wait to see what they do in chapter four in May 2021. So coming in at number five, we're halfway through this list. And in at number five is Le Mans '66. Such a great film. It never feels like it's 2.5 hours long. I think that's thanks to the amazing racing scenes, which really put you in the driver's perspective, and it makes it all the more exhilarating. And even when it doesn't show you the driver's perspective, it's still really exciting. And especially when they show you crashes, you're like, oh yeah, this is dangerous, and it really makes you feel that adrenaline rush of watching it. And the smaller character stuff as well is really great, especially thanks to Matt Damon and Christian Bale, who give great performances here. Especially Christian Bale, who mention must be made. He is a great actor, but here he's really great. He's great as like this eccentric, doesn't play by the rules guy. He throws spanners and he swears at officials and gets into fights and arguments. And he's a joy to watch. He's so funny in this, and he's balanced very well by straight man Matt Damon. They're just a great comedic pairing. Yeah, if you haven't seen this film, go see it. You don't need to be a motorsport fan to be able to enjoy it. You can enjoy it just as a pure film fan, but there's plenty there that motorsports fans can enjoy. It's the best of both worlds. Coming in at number four is Rocket Man. This film is great. It is it's a of course a feel good biopic, but not quite. It's very sad and dwells very much on Elton John's drink habits and the path that led him down and his eventual recovery. And it shows like kind of how other characters feel about him and his as well and his sexuality. Like one especially heartbreaking scene involves his mother saying to him over the phone how he's choosing a life where he'll never be loved, and what hits hardest as well is his relationship with John Reed, who he doesn't care about him. He's very much using him for the money, and that's evident. And when he punches him, like it's hard hitting stuff, and it hits hard thanks to its musical fantasy approach, where it's allowed to be far fetched and out there in its musical numbers, but in any talking scenes, it's allowed to remain down to earth and grounded. I'd love to see. I would have loved to see Bohemian Rhapsody done in this style. That would have been amazing, and probably would have been edited a lot better. But you wouldn't have lost Rami Malek's great performance as Freddy, obviously. But yeah, Rocket Man, such a great film, and it's a great story, and you can very much tell Elton John was passionate about his true, unfiltered story getting told. So we're into the top three now, and in at number three is Ad Astra, a film I never got to see in cinemas, but I watched recently, and it was absolutely brilliant. Like it's not slow and boring like all the Google users are making it out to be, but what it is a really thoughtful and dialogue driven story of one man's journey into space to find his missing dad, and his and how the space journey leads to his eventual like loss of sanity. And he starts off as this like very emotionless guy. Like his heart rate never goes above 80. It's mentioned, and he's very much focused only on the mission, no outside distractions. And as we see throughout the course of the running time, his emotions do start to take over a bit as his journey progresses. And as well as this being a great, thought provoking, grounded, like drama sci fi, it has pretty great action as well. Like there's a really great scene on the moon with moon rovers. You've probably seen the clip of it on YouTube by now. And there's also a great scene involving space baboons. Like there's a baboon on like a there's like a distress call because like some baboon is like taking over the ship and essentially killed like whatever crew was in it, and they kill and it kills all the crew that Brad Pitt's with as well. It's pretty tense stuff, and it's gorgeous to look at. Like, and that's thanks to the way it's shot, thanks to Hoyt Van Hoytma. I hope I'm saying that right. His color grading. So every planet is allowed to look unique and tells you we're at a new location. This looks beautiful. And you can very much tell he's worked with Christopher Nolan before because of how gorgeous this looks. Yeah, Ad Astra, check it out. Don't be put off by what the Google users think. Watch it, form your own opinion. Chances are, if you're into this sort of thing, you'll probably love it. Coming in at number two is Joker. Well, this film is incredible. It's a gripping film. It's absolutely perfectly paced. Like it's slow enough that it allows you to kind of gradually come to care about Arthur and sympathize with him and how society treats him. But it's fast moving enough that it never drags on, and that everything moves quick enough and it never overstays its welcome as a result. The music is pretty great as well. Like that cello score, I hope that is nominated for an Oscar. It will deserve it. And all the other actors in it as well, they kind of nicely complement Joaquin Phoenix's performance as Arthur because he is brilliant. But Robert De Niro is also really great. Like, because you'd think for the role he has in it, he'd kind of just phone it in, but no, he does a great job. And he conveys some pretty great stuff, some pretty great emotions towards the end, and that really tense scene where Arthur's on the Murray Franklin show. Yeah, yeah, you know that one. Yeah, where he shoots him live on TV. Gets the last 15 minutes are amazing. Like they just never let up. They're tense, and it shows that he's now the Joker that we all know and recognize, and allows for a little thing that the fans love seeing. But Arthur's journey is great. It it raises some very genuine and thoughtful discussions of mental health and what kind of mental state you have to be in and how it would lead you there to be able to do violence. Just a great film all around. I hope this is nominated for Best Picture. Please, Academy. Please. I know you nominated Black Panther last year, but can you please nominate this one? Right, before we get to the number one pick, I'd like to mention a film that really surprised me this year. That was The Kid Who Would Be King. Now, I could have put this in the honorable mentions, but I didn't. I decided I'd give it a special mention on its own. You know why? Because it was such a surprise, and it needs to be seen by more people. The trailers for it, you've most likely seen the trailers. They weren't great. Like, they really do not do this film justice because it's just great. Like, it's an original and fresh retelling of the King Arthur legends, which have been told and retold in essentially the same fashion time and time again. But this film takes what it needs from those legends and plants it into the modern day and allows it to feel fresh and original. It feels like those old Amblin films from the 80s where a group of kids would go on a fantastic adventure. And it, it's I'm I, the box office film performance of this film really does not reflect in the overall quality because it's a really good film, despite being made for kids. It's one that adults can enjoy as well, not because of adult jokes, but rather because it's enjoyable just in its own right. Like, kids can enjoy it, adults can enjoy it. It's the best of both worlds. I'm sad it didn't get the due it deserves, but I'm glad it's now starting to be recognised by more and more people. Yeah. Now that I've mentioned this film, let's move on to the number one pick for 2019. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, my number one pick for 2019. And here it is. My number one pick for 2019 is The Irishman. You probably all saw this coming. Wow. The Irishman is such a film. It is never boring, despite its 3.5 hour running time. That is incredible feat to pull off. And what it manages to do in that 3.5 hours, it's able to tell a very human story about one man and his welcome into the world of criminal families and how it eventually leads him to do violent things and have to kill like the, the best friend he ever makes in the in this criminal world, even if it like even if it leads to this him having being ended up being distanced from his own daughter. It, it's such a great film, and there's some really great acting here. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, they're all great. And Stephen Graham really holds his own in this cast of legendary actors. It's just an all round great film. Never was boring. It never felt too slow. Slow paced, but never too slow. Plenty of drama to sustain the runtime, and they allowed the characters to grow and progress throughout the running time. Just such a film, right? If you haven't watched it, watch it. If you haven't, if you have Netflix, you can watch it just fine. Because it's on there. Yeah, that is my list of the top 10 films of 2019. Let me know in the comments what your top 10 is, and if you've seen any of these. And I look forward to be able to do more videos in this new year.